Hello, everybody. I don't do these live things too much, so if you could let me know if you can hear me and everything's coming through. I'll just wait till somebody shows up and lets me know this is working. Okay, so I got one person. Can you comment and tell me if you can hear me? All right. I want to talk about Chelsea Manning. That's what I'll be talking about. She announced a run for Senate position in Maryland, state of Maryland. And I think a lot of people don't understand who Chelsea Manning is, what she's actually done. There's a lot of controversy about, just because she's transgender and all. That's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about why she's a hero. People don't understand. I'll give you a little backstory. Just like during holiday dinner, Christmas dinner, I think, you always, sometimes you just end up talking politics with family. And, an uncle who's normally really, he's conservative, but he's still, normally really, he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. But he started kind of slandering Chelsea Manning. And then I asked him a simple question. Well, one thing he was personally disgusted by Chelsea Manning in a swimsuit on the cover of Vanity Fair or whatever. That's his problem. And then I just had to ask him. I was like, well, do you know what she leaked? Do you know what she did? And do you know why she went to prison? Do you know why? I mean, I told him I respect her for reasons that have nothing to do with the transgender issue. And he said, no, she's a traitor. She put lives in danger. And I said, one, it's not true. That anybody suffered any consequences, and no lives were harmed. No lives were harmed from her leaks. Investigations from the government showed that. So that's a lie. That's a nasty, disgusting smear. And then I ask him, well, do you know what she leaked? He, at the time, Bradley Manning, now Chelsea Manning. He didn't know. Got embarrassed. He didn't know. So I just want to talk about some of those things. I'll kind of go through a list. Hey, Mariana, can you hear me? I've done this. I hope you can hear me. I hope I don't sound like super high or super low. I've had some audio issues before. But here we go. I'm just going to read through some of the reasons or some of the things that Chelsea Manning actually leaked. Why she's a hero. What she told us. She exposed war crimes that our government was committing in our name, secretly. And it's because it was secret. She went to jail for several years because she leaked classified information. But I'm going to quote Martin Luther King now. This is a lot of people are on my page maybe because of the MLK video, and I'm going to connect it. Chelsea Manning connects to MLK. In MLK's letter from a Birmingham jail, he reminds us all one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws, and it's not right for information that is vital for the American public to remain classified. That's not right. And it's not right to withhold that kind of information. Here, I'm going to begin going through a couple of these things. And the biggest thing to me, most shocking, was a video that she leaked. Let's go. Yes. Okay. Here we go. U.S. military officials withheld information about the indiscriminate killing of Reuters journalists and innocent Iraqi civilians. It's known as the collateral murder video. You can look it up on YouTube anyway. And it depicted the indiscriminate slaying of over a dozen people in Iraq, including 2 journalists working for Reuters. And the U.S. government withheld this information. Reuters filed a Freedom of Information Act, to, wondering, God, what the hell happened to our journalists there? And the U.S. government withheld the information thanks to Chelsea Manning. In the video she released, you can see that this was murder. U.S. Army helicopter or soldiers manning a machine gun would just mow down these journalists and innocent civilians, and they were laughing about it. They were joking about it. It was like they're playing a video game. It's disgusting. And Manning's the one that went to prison. Nothing happened to these people. Nothing happened to these murderers. Nothing. Again, now here's another huge thing, and I'll remind everybody. Daniel Ellsberg. I don't know if you guys have seen the post. I haven't seen the movie yet. I've seen the documentary, "The Most Dangerous Man in America," who leaked a ton of information that our government was hiding from us about Vietnam. And that's what led to the end of the Vietnam War. It saved countless lives, leaking this information. And what did Daniel Ellsberg leak? Well, he leaked the government. Well, the government was publicly telling us that, we're going to win Vietnam. We're doing this, to fight communism and to, help these poor Vietnamese. Well, but behind closed doors, they were speaking about other things. They were literally 70%. They said 70% of the reason we were in Vietnam is just because we didn't want to lose the war. We just didn't want to lose. They didn't mind just sacrificing countless more American lives and innocent Vietnamese lives, just because they didn't want to look like losers. That's really effed up. This came out, and it exposed the Vietnam War for the scam it was. Now, here's some other thing. Now, similarly, in Chelsea Manning, now remember, that's Daniel Ellsberg, the Pentagon Papers in '69. He's a hero now. There is a movie now, this moment, glorifying him. He's a hero for doing that. He saved countless American lives. And so Chelsea Manning, similarly, now meanwhile today, she's getting smeared still for her heroic actions, leaking information to the public, vital information to the public about the Iraq War. Here, this is another huge detail of the leak. Oh God, thanks to Chelsea Manning, we found out that it was official policy to ignore torture in Iraq. This is while publicly the government was telling us, no, the U.S. doesn't torture. We're better than that. We don't torture people. Well, we were. It was official policy to ignore it, even though they knew it was happening. Oh, here we go. There was another detail. There was an official tally of civilian deaths in Iraq and Afghanistan. Publicly, the government was saying, no, we don't know how many people are dying. We're not, they were saying our weapons are so precise, hardly, civilians hardly get harmed. Chelsea Manning told us the truth. There was, the government did have an official tally of civilian deaths in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it turned out we were killing, for more than half of the casualties were non-combatants. For every Iraqi death that was classified as a combatant, 2 innocent men, women, or children were also killed. We were killing that. That's disgusting. So what's, and the smear again is still that, Chelsea Manning harmed the U.S., harmed us Americans. No, she didn't put our lives in danger. What's more harmful? What's really putting the U.S. in danger? Telling us what our government's doing secretly in our name, or what the government is doing secretly in our name, killing civilians, twice as many civilians as enemy combatants. What creates more enemy combatants? That doesn't make us safer when we're killing innocent people overseas. That makes us less safe. That makes people hate us. That creates terrorists. What else? Just feel free to chime in. I don't see any comments. I'm not sure how this live stream thing works, but I just felt like I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Also, and another thing that's I think we need to talk about. I could go down the list. There's so many things. I encourage everybody to actually research what Chelsea Manning actually leaked. And again, for those people who have been who've just heard who've had it beaten into their heads that Chelsea Manning put our lives in danger, that harmed America. Here's a quote from Robert Gates, the U.S. Secretary of Defense at the time, former Secretary of Defense. Is this embarrassing? Yes. Is this awkward? Yes. This is referring to the leaks. Yeah, they were embarrassing to the government. They should be. You should be embarrassed that you're killing twice as many civilians as enemy combatants, and you're torturing people in line to the American public about both those things. But he says the consequences for U.S. foreign policy, I think, fairly modest. Not she put lives in danger, which is the smear that's been beaten into so many Americans' heads, unfortunately. Another thing I've got to, I think's worth mentioning is her. So Chelsea Manning came out with a campaign ad just a couple days ago, a few days ago now, 3 days. And it was age restricted. It became age restricted on YouTube, even though there's nothing that should be age restricted in it. There's no pornography. I mean, there's nothing. No violence. It's not violence. I mean, and so why was this age restricted? That's a form of censorship. I mean, when it's not called for. And I think it's pretty clear. It had, and also she didn't talk about that doesn't talk about transgender issues at all, just about our corruption in our government. Not that's not worth talking about. But because the video talks about corruption in government, and let's face it, because Chelsea Manning is a whistleblower and she's not afraid to call out government corruption, not afraid to speak truth to power. And because there's no other reason, there's just no reason for this to be censored in this way. And because Google doesn't comment, YouTube didn't comment, you have to wonder, maybe that's why they're trying to hide this video. Now, younger people can't vote below a certain age, but still, young people share information probably more than older people, and I mean that's certainly going to affect her campaign if young people can't see her campaign ads. It's very, very sketchy, and I speak from experience. You might think, oh, that's crazy. I'm sure there was something wrong with it. That's why it was censored in this way. I've been censored on Facebook for a video exposing censorship. It was nuts. And Facebook didn't get back to me about it. Still. They just say it's against community guidelines, even though there's nothing in their community guidelines that this would fall under. It's really sketchy stuff, guys. It was and that, look it up if you're interested. I was exposing Jill Stein being censored on the PBS NewsHour. She was speaking out against the Trans-Pacific Partnership and Hillary Clinton's policies. Okay, any questions? I don't see any comments. Hopefully, I didn't stutter too much. I'm an editor. I'm not a great public speaker. But I'm practicing, working on it, and hopefully you got a little something from this, and hopefully you do some research yourself and learn that Chelsea Manning is a hero, not a traitor. We should be proud of Chelsea Manning, all Americans. Just like we're proud of Daniel Ellsberg. I just hope we don't have to wait, decades before we realize Chelsea Manning's a hero too.